All right, 5-minute check-in. Oh, you're getting a treat today. I wanted you to see the river down there. We're around the Chattooga River, and it borders the Chattooga River for a while here. And it's just what a freaking awesome day, awesome morning. Yesterday was a great backpacking day. You know, it was, I don't know, mid-60s, 70s, so wasn't just no mugs, no bugs. It was awesome. Good trail, good treadway. Dang, I wish the whole AT was like this. So, camped at Sims Field last night. The whole group did. I think there's about, I don't know, a dozen of us or so. You met some of them around the fireplace. There was some others that weren't there around the fireplace. See, there's lots of these water sources that we passed all along the way. Oh God, gotta pay attention here. Anyhow, so this morning I think got down to 37, 40, something like that last night. Meant to get up a little earlier, but dang, that bag felt good. Anyway, so we got up and everybody got together. Some of them took off without breakfast. Last night we almost did not hang our bags. Yes, I know that's a cardinal sin, but this time of year, which is in December, actually it's January, the end of December, 1st of January, coming up on January 1, but whoo, look at this view, look at this. All right, I got to take a picture right quick. Anyhow, but because bears are supposed to be hibernating, so I wasn't worried about the bears. Of course, it's hot, and I don't have enough biology in my degree to know if the season that bears dehydrate, do bears, if it gets warm, will they come back out and then go back into hibernation? So if somebody is a biologist out there, let me know. Anyhow, normally I hang my bag because I don't want to kill a bear. And so what happened last night was we were just going to throw them up in a tree and not do an official hang. And we were down by the river, looked across the river, and there's like 6 sets of eyes looking back at me. And I'm like, whoa, what is that? And come along, surmised that they were raccoons. Well, I don't want a raccoon come across that water shredding my bag any more than I want a bear shredding it. So we went ahead and did an official PCT bear bag hang to make sure that coons didn't get to it. So anyway, we kept it. We could follow the rules like we're supposed to. Got up this morning, some of the group lit out because I had told them we'd be leaving about 5:30 or 6. They took that to mean it was exactly, not trail time, it was exactly 5:30 or 6. And so time we got up and got around the fire, some of them came over. They were camping away from us and they had their packs on ready to go. So they went ahead and left, and hey, we're all going to the same spot, Burroughs Ford, I believe it is, where fresh ground's supposed to be there. Don't know. We did an extra 2.5 miles last night. We were supposed to stay at Chattooga campground, and we wound up at a place called Sims Field where we stayed. Had a water source there, but we had plenty of daylight. Decided to go ahead and make the miles. Well, we had good weather, good daylight, and so we'll get there about an hour earlier than what he was probably expecting. I don't know if he's feeding lunch or breakfast, but I think he's feeding burritos. So we'll have burritos for lunch, or breakfast, or brunch, whatever you want to call it. Anyhow, we are on our way. Hopefully the rain will hold off today. I'm hoping to do 16 to 18 miles. The plan was originally to do 15 miles a day, to do the 77 in 5 days. And since we didn't do the 10, we got a few miles to tack on to the 15 per in order to make it. However, I was a little worried, of course, going into it, haven't hiked since Chestnut Knob when I had to come off trail due to my PF, and my feet did great. So the new Brooks with the rock shield in them are working out. No blisters. I've got some Injinji toe socks, Injinji, however you pronounce it, toe socks. That's kind of odd too to have socks, they're liner socks. The liner socks where you have a left and a right sock. You're just slinging them on. Left or right, don't matter. Upside down, kind of matters. Anyhow, so that's odd. But anyhow, didn't have any blisters, and I don't know if I was on trail long enough yesterday to get them. Of course, there wasn't nothing wet about me either. But I'm hoping that those will work out better than just the typical silk liner socks I get. One problem with them is that once they get wet, they tend to kind of bunch up, and of course mine, I probably kept them longer than I should because they're getting really loose and the material's lost its strength and its weave. So anyhow, wow, this is just it's so peaceful. This is just so peaceful. This is why we hike, folks. This is why we do it. All right, let's move out. Let me start over because I don't know if that other stuff's going to take. So the river down below us, and the trail's like a little catwalk around the river. And you got a little rock overhang. I think this is like an emergency get out of the weather type of thing. I don't know if it is or not. I saw it somewhere on the map, but anyway, neat little formation going around. But the trail's like a catwalk above the river here. So this second after Sims Field before Burroughs Ford, a lot of big up right after Sims Field, and then a lot of little roller coasters. But it's wow, it's just such a gorgeous day. Now, hopefully you guys are hearing all this of how much I love hiking and how much this is my happy place. Because Wednesday is supposed to be a deluge. I don't know I'll be in my happy place. I don't even know if I'll be here. But I'll try to get through Wednesday at least. And then when everything gets sopping wet and I got nothing to sleep in. But I take that back. We got to call it on Wednesday because Wednesday's our last bailout point. Until we get on the right before sassafras. And of course, you don't want to bail out on sassafras. So anyhow, we'll see how I do with wet weather again. But wow, the last 2 days just been awesome. That's a little trail down there to it. I'm not taking it. There's a neat little waterfall there. I can hear it cascading, but I'm not going to take the time to go down. I don't know why. I'm just not. Anyhow, what a wonderful day for hiking. Wonderful day to be in the woods and God's creation. And I was thinking about this before I did this up. Kind of got a little tramley going here, about a dozen of us. That's pretty neat. I know where Nancy's coming out with Mako. Mako being the dog, the standard poodle, is coming out at Burroughs Ford, so be losing those two. And our bear alert system, which was Mako. We'll talk about last night here in a bit. Let me catch my breath. So we've got a neat little walk for a while right down here along the river. So we're pretty much following the fall line of the river for a ways here before it heads back uphill. 5-0 says there's a lot of ups and downs, meaning roller coasters through here. So we'll see, but it's cool down here around this water, contrary to what Come Along thinks is warmer. I suppose if it was like 20 degrees outside, that might be the case. But right now, of course, I'm heated up. So I guess that's why it feels cooler. If I wasn't moving, it was 30. Of course, the water wouldn't be frozen at that, just because it's flowing. Then it would probably be warmer. Anyway, enough of that. It's just a really neat little walk through here. There's a couple beaches where you could probably tent. One in particular, I've seen in other folks' videos that did the foothills where they tented. I didn't take any video there, just if somebody already camping and it won't bother them. So, but also don't know about getting up in the morning and having to get sand out of everything. So anyhow, oh gosh, here we go. Here we go for an up. So, let me go.
That's your tent out? Who's got the tent?
I got my tent out. I'm trying to get a little bit of, trying to dry a little bit, but
Trying to sell it, you said?
no, there's no sun or nothing. All right, Fresh Ground, what are you fixing for everybody?
So we got pancakes, usual breakfast pancakes, blueberry. We have bacon, deep fried, and then we did potatoes, and I'm doing eggs and cheese and butter right now.
So just to critique him,
Yep.
just so y'all know when you get on trail what you're up against. The bacon was burnt, but it was edible. He does cater to vegans. The pancakes were partially burnt, but if you put enough maple syrup on a turd, it'll taste good. So that was okay. What else did you make? Oh, sure. Potatoes. Now the potatoes were spot on.
Your plate, it's empty.
Huh? There. Yeah, there's my plate. I was so overcome with.
But it went in your belly, not in the trash can.
I was just. The Fresh Ground terrorized me and stood over me, lauded over me while I ate that with 2 forks in his hand. So now he's fixing eggs, so we're going to see how those come out, if they're squawking or not, or if they're burnt. So
you can always walk by. You can stop you.
So anyway, no, I'm just kidding. It was all delicious, and it was all great. And you just look at the feast he's got, and we got over yonder. He's got snacks and stuff we can take with us. And you know, I come upon Fresh Ground. I'm trying to eat my way through my food bag to get my weight down, and I just add more weight. So anyway, yeah. Fresh Ground is the man, aren't you, Fresh Ground?
No, I work for the man, but
amen, brother. All right, so we just left Fresh Grounds and had a full belly, full course meal of breakfast with blueberry pancakes and real maple syrup, bacon, potatoes, home fries, I guess you call them, and egg and juice, and good grief, I don't eat that much in a week back home, so I gotta hike hard to get rid of all that. And he'd already fed some folks that were not part of our group before we got there, and he's waiting on the second part of our group. Then he's gonna meet us up at Sloan Bridge access, I think. But anyhow, that's awesome for him to do that and just have people that look out after the hiker community. Neat little family we had gathered around there. They head out. I was the last one. Did have one of our party had to turn around and go back and get his phone. Fresh Ground's got some charging stations on the outside that are the bomb fast chargers. And unfortunately, somebody left from down there without their phone. I'm not going to say who. So they had to go back and get that. But anyway, all right. We are rolling, heading on up trail. Pretty good sized climbs today, I think. For the rest of the way here, according to 5-0, who's hiked it a couple times. And Bridget, although I think her trail name is Pierce Peacock, she didn't really tell us that. Somebody else told us that. Anyhow, this trail is, I can imagine this is what the AT used to look like 20 years ago. Treadway is just in such great shape through 95% of it, as opposed to being just slam wore out. And you'll see this, and I think about how much longer can the AT sustain that. I mean, every year with 3 million people plus getting on it somewhere, and roughly 3,000 thru hikers coming through Georgia, not obviously only about 20 to 25% make it, but all the way up the trail still. There's a lot of pounding, and I guess that's why it's just so full of roots and rocks. But anyway, the only way to fix that is get people off the trail. And nobody wants that to happen. I don't know how long it would take to recover if you started limiting it, but it's really impossible to do that since there's so many trailheads. So it's being loved to death, basically. There's another trail that parallels it, doesn't run the entire length. I think it's called, I don't remember what it's called. I'll put it down here below, but after I find it. But it's not going to be as built up, i.e. shelters and such, as the AT is. Oh, that's awesome valley there. But it's going to maybe to take some traffic off, particularly those few that are going to do another thru hike, or maybe, I don't know. Anyhow, we are heading on up the hill. Talk to you in a bit. We're at the conflux of the Chattanooga Trail, which is down that way. Fish Hatchery Trail, which keeps on going down the hill. I don't know where that would be. And Burroughs Ford Parking, which is 0.6 of a mile, which is where we just came from. All right, here we go.
We've been cooking.
Okay, this is what I mean by hardware cloth. So if you look at it, it's like, well, expanded metal. This is actually not hardware cloth, it's expanded metal, but it's the same thing. But that doesn't get loaded up. And see, yeah, we got a Mako walking on it. It's not bothering Mako at all. So it's good for man and beast. That's what they need on every one of these bridges here, and especially in Bermuda. Where are we at? What's the name of this place? Jill? Sloan Bridge. Is this Sloan Bridge access? Okay, we are at Sloan Bridge access, and we're setting up camp back in here. Gonna be right here at the highway. Oh joy. And looks like the brand of choice is Zpacks, except for a few of these weird people. They got something, I don't know what they got, but it's, whatever it is, it's junk, I can tell you that. No, I'm kidding you. It's all of them are great tents. So, and they all make great pitches, and all these hikers in here are just perfect pitch, every one of them. So that's their story, and they're sticking to it. All right, except that one down there, that one's a wreck, and that one's mine. So, all right, anyway, this is where we're at right here by the road. Such a choice spot. So be like white noise. It's putting us to sleep tonight. So I can't wait to hear motorcycles coming through here, raising Almighty Cain. We are going to get a movie of Fresh Ground. So, oh, what a plus. We got fed, but bellies are full, and I'm probably going back for a second helping. Plus, there's a privy here. All right. Chat with you in a bit.
The start of the trail to Neil Cap is just all switchbacks, right?
I wouldn't say it's all switchbacks,
It's hard though, isn't
but there's a lot of ups and downs. Georgia, they call Georgia's full of puds, pointless ups and downs.
Okay.
All right, we are 20-minute check-in, back on trail, bellies full from Fresh Ground. We're on our way from, I think it's Sloan River access to Whitewater Falls, be the next road crossing. So, on our way right now, a little overcast, but it's still great hiking weather, temperature's great, and still loving this trail. So anyway, this is an example of the treadway. Hey, even here you get a little bit of a green tunnel effect. Not really any views. A few, of course, the river views are awesome. Really enjoyed walking down around the Chattooga down there. We got off last night. We did camp there. There's a campsite there at Sloan Access. It's, I don't know, you could probably put 15 tents there. We probably had a dozen. And had a great crew there. Some folks left before we took this picture, unfortunately. But anyway, Kurt and 5-0 left before we took it, and hated that. But I've got in one of my updates, got an interview with, or I may just do it alone with 5-0. So anyhow, we are bound there to Whitewater access, and we'll catch you before we get there. But loving this trail, loving this treadway. So this is probably one of my favorite hikes of the whole year. Maybe up there in the top 10 of my hikes, for lots of reasons. One reason is that got to meet a lot of people and hike with a lot of folks. And most of them were AT aficionados, folks that had hiked on the AT, but there was several thru hikers that hiked with us that had hiked the AT in recent years. And there were several folks that were getting ready to hike this year on the Appalachian Trail. So it was just kind of neat to see all that excitement and stuff going on. It was really palpable. And but it's just neat to hike with people. I kind of felt like I got just a little glimpse of what it's like to hike with a tramley. Because by the end of the hike, when we got done with it, you knew people's names, at least the trail names, and exchanged some phone numbers and pictures and stuff like that. And it was just really neat. So I had a good time with that. And but the trail was a really neat trail. Highly recommend it to anybody. It's a great training trail for the AT. It doesn't have quite the ups and downs as the AT does, but it gives you just a little taste of what you're going to be up against. And of course, it's going to be more difficult on the AT because the ups are more up and longer and higher up and everything. But it was a good trip. We actually, a group of us got off at Whitewater Access, so we did not finish it. There was a group that finished it. Kudos to them. There was supposed to be about 3 days worth of rain coming up, and Ramdino's a fair weather hiker, right? And didn't care about getting out in that. I know. Whenever I do a thru hike, I'm going to have to just suck it up and drive on, and I got that. But anyhow, they did finish. So that was Pierce Peacock 5-0. from our group, 5-0, and Clint from Roxylvania. And then there were some other folks that finished with them that I think were ahead of us. They weren't really part of our tramley, but I think they were there. Maybe Fresh Ground had helped them out a little bit as well. So anyhow, I highly recommend this to anybody. We're going back. I'm going to go back and finish it. And I think we're going to make this an annual thing. Fresh Ground wants to make it an annual thing and wants to call it the Great American Foothills Trail Bail Out Hike. So we next time, hopefully we won't have to bail out for good weather, but I think we're going to make this an annual thing for through hikers that are getting ready to start coming up in the following year, and just to get out there and just to be part of the hiker community. So appreciate you watching that. As always, appreciate you, and we'll see you out here.